Good evening and welcome to this edition of KTN Prime. It's the 26th of June 2012. I'm Michael O'Year.
And I'm Edith Kimani. This evening we're joined by Noah Tieno, editor, political news. And I understand the miscellaneous amendment bill is back in the news. Why is this?
Well, the president has sent it back to Parliament, and now we're asking what next.
All right.
Looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Noah. But first, the headlines on tonight's bulletin. Saitoti family unhappy with slow pace of crash investigation.
I'm not backing any presidential hopeful, Kibaki declares.
Heightened security in Mombasa's government fast-tracks anti-terror bill.
And Uganda struggles to rescue 400 people buried alive in mudslide.
Welcome. Former Internal Security Minister George Saitoti's family is concerned that the wreckage of the helicopter crash may deteriorate at the crash site while waiting for the probe team to complete its initial examination of the parts.
The family lawyer confronted the team investigating the circumstances surrounding the crash. The team has begun the mapping process to help identify the pieces. Only after the mapping will the wreckage be moved. Wilkis Tanyabwa with a report.
For the second time in as many weeks, they came, they saw, and this time they also had to deal with ruffled feathers.
You know, we can't retain the experts here when somebody else is taking his sweet time about something which ought to be very, very simple.
The team constituted to probe the Ngong helicopter crash arrived at the site of the crash to find George Saitoti's family lawyer and his siblings waiting to register their apprehension. The advocate expressing concern at the snail's pace at which investigations were progressing.
You understand the bureaucracy? No, that's what I don't want to understand henceforth. Yes. Because I can't understand bureaucracy standing in the way of seeking the truth.
The investigators finally agreed to the idea of broaching a session where both sides could come to an understanding of how to proceed.
The commission to allow us to formally appear as early as tomorrow, so that these fears are placed on record. Because if this matter deteriorates any further, we could be really either spending a lot of money when everybody else wants to obstruct the process.
Investigations have begun, but the families of the deceased worry that they are not moving as fast as they ought, meaning that they could hamper the outcome. George Saitoti's family has flown in engineers to assist the team probing the crash with the investigations. The team that was without appeal judge Kalpana Rawal arrived at Kibiku with one agenda: to start off the technical mapping, where the investigators would identify and mark various pieces in a bid to shed light on the events that led to the helicopter crash.
We are looking at the wreckage, seeing the damage patterns, identifying where the different pieces are on the ground, and that helps us to determine the direction of the aircraft when it crashed and how it might have impacted with the ground.
Once this is complete, the wreckage will be carried off and stored away for future reference. It is the time between the technical mapping and the stowing away that the lawyer objects to, for fear that this could compromise the evidence.
We can't, of course, allow it to stay here, because no more deterioration would happen.
The investigative team, however, standing its ground, maintaining that the wreckage won't be left at the site for much longer, and that mapping is only the beginning of the process. Wilkis Tanyabwa, KTN Prime.
There's a war of word between the officials at State House and Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo over claims Jirongo made that State House is sponsoring a political party in the next general election.
In a statement, State House said Jirongo's remarks are careless and irresponsible. President Kibaki's private secretary, Professor Nick Wanjohi, who in the past has been linked in the media to the UDF, also disowned the party and asked the media to stop associating him with any party.
But the Lugari MP maintains that the truth will soon emerge. KTN's Asham Wheeler with the details.
Wewe utakuwa ni mraji wangu. Nimekutuma uende kunifanyie kazi. Siwezi kukupa chama, nikupe pesa, nikutume kwenda simama kama sikutumii.
It is this statement that has infuriated State House, which censured the Lugari MP over his remarks. In a strong-worded statement directed at Cyrus Jirongo, State House distanced itself from any political party, saying, and I quote, "As a presidential candidate who seeks to occupy State House, he should be telling Kenyans what he will do to transform their lives, not yapping State House every time he opens his mouth." But in a quick rejoinder, a philosophical Jirongo appeared to stick to his guns, falling back on one of Buddha's famous quotes: "Three things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth." And as State House strongly refuted claims of supporting a certain candidate, observers were left wondering just what the president meant when he uttered this line a few weeks ago in Mombasa.
I know the kind of project we want in Kenya, and I know that it doesn't do anybody any good to preach a different thing.
But the man at the center of this back and forth has since rubbished the claims.
Can you show me in which particular law where it is said that the position of presidency is predetermined for Mudavadi, and therefore anybody else who wants to oppose Mudavadi is a project?
In the meantime, Kenyans will no doubt be keenly watching with interest developments at the House on the Hill. For KTN Prime, I'm Asha Mwilu.
And on tonight's big question, do you believe that State House is backing a presidential candidate? Do you believe that State House is backing a presidential candidate? Send your brief comment beginning with a yes or no to the number on your screen. That's 8040, and we'll sample some of your comments at the end of this live newscast.
Late last week, Parliament passed an amendment barring those without university degrees from contesting in any election, raising the bar for aspirants seeking county and National Assembly seats. However, President Kibaki has declined to assent to the bill, giving a reprieve to more than 80 members of Parliament and other aspirants who have not had a university education. A cross-section of Kenyans feel that MPs and county representatives should be holders of university degrees. Was the move well informed? Well, KTN's senior reporter Aaron Ocheng reports.
The rejection of the miscellaneous amendment bill 2012 by President Kibaki came as a big relief to those seeking to vie for political office in the coming general election but lacked a degree certification. The Election Act 2011 provides that aspirants for parliamentary and county assembly seats must possess a post-secondary school certificate. The Act bars anyone without a degree certificate from a recognized university to vie for the post of President, Deputy President, and County Governor. If Kibaki had gone ahead and assented to the bill, then MPs and county representatives would have been required to have a degree to be cleared to vie.
If you don't have the qualifications, you will miss 5 years and you will come back after you are competent.
The president move to reject the amendments is a triumph for more than 80 MPs who would have otherwise been left in the political cold. Their argument, leaders are not made in the university lecture theaters.
Masomo sio kipimo ya uongozi. In fact, university zetu zimefaili kutuletea, lazima watuletee katika university yetu kuwa kuna masomo ya honesty.
Parliament's decision to raise the qualification bar was welcomed by a good number of Kenyans who argue that being a lawmaking body, it should have the highest caliber of debaters who understand the law, and a university degree would have been a fair prerequisite.
It discriminates against people who had absolutely no control over their circumstances. If I didn't have money to go to university, you cannot say I cannot become a member of parliament.
The president, prime minister, and vice president all agreed that the bar has to be lowered, leaving parliamentarians and those with a different view with very little option to change the Election Act. Aaron Cheng, KTN Prime.
And of course that has to do with the miscellaneous amendment bill, and there's more to it than just the matter of degrees, isn't there, Noah?
Yes, Michael. This miscellaneous amendment bill 2012 is about 50 laws of Kenya, but we're only talking about 2 because those are the most controversial, most sensational ones. As we're saying, so the President has sent back to Parliament the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2012 with suggestions that the section allowing MPs to hop from one party to another before the election and the other section requiring MPs to have university degrees in order to contest be deleted. So, what next? First of all, the House Business Committee will have to slot in the President's memorandum for debate. This was supposed to be done this evening so that the memorandum can be debated either tomorrow or the day after. The MPs cannot, however, reopen the entire Amendments Bill 2012 for debate except the sections rejected by the President and the memorandum sent by the President to Parliament. So, what are the options for the members of Parliament? 1. The members of Parliament can decide to accept the President's suggestions to delete the 2 offending sections and delete the section on the Political Parties Act allowing party hopping and the section on the Elections Act requiring university degrees for members of Parliament, and then after deleting these sections, send the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill back to the President to be signed into law. Or the MPs can accept the President's suggestions to delete the offending sections, but changing the sections without deleting them entirely, then send them to the President to be assented into law. Or the members of Parliament can decide to stick to their guns and refuse the President's suggestions and send back the amendments bill to the President to be signed into law as they had originally sent it. But this can only happen through a vote by the members of Parliament supported by 2/3 majority of the House. This has not happened ever since the new constitution came into force. Now, sources say that although the President rejected the section allowing party hopping, and although the President rejected the section requiring university degrees for members of Parliament, court petitions against the amendments bill may still be filed by sections of Kenyans because the President allowed another controversial amendment allowing presidential contenders who lose the election to be nominated back to Parliament through the political party lists. We expect that the President's memo to Parliament rejecting the 2 offending clauses will be debated very soon because there are over 48 other laws whose fate hang on the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2012. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Noah. 20 people have been confirmed dead in the massive landslide that occurred shortly after torrential rains hit the mountainous Mount Elgon area in Bududa district, eastern Uganda. More than 220 people have been displaced, and the Ugandan government has advised that they relocate to safer ground where they can receive some help. Hundreds of people are still unaccounted for, and authorities expect the death toll to almost certainly increase. KTN's Joy Durimbira has the latest on this tragedy.
Delivering a statement on the state of disaster, Uganda's disaster preparedness minister said a technical team from the health ministry will take care of the survivors and ask them to relocate to areas accessible to humanitarian relief services.
10 people have been rescued and admitted at Bududa Hospital. We are using that as the evacuation place at the moment.
At the scene, the mood was one of anguish as residents using rudimentary tools dug through mounds of mud in a desperate attempt to rescue their loved ones. It is reported that a good number of the residents were indoors when huge blocks of mud and rocks started to roll downhill, toppling homes, killing livestock and burying people alive. The landslides, they add, were unexpected, occurring several hours after a torrential overnight downpour that at first seemed to have caused little damage.
And as you see, the land is not on the steep hill.
There are fears that the number of lives lost could rise as an estimated 450 people remain unaccounted for following the devastating landslides that swept away Namaga and Bunakasala villages in Bumalukani sub-county in Bududa district, completely burying at least 15 houses.
So the total number of people at risk in this neighboring area are 448.
The current landslide resurrects memories of March 2010, where a major landslide hit Bududa district, affecting the entire Nemetsi village. More than 100 people died and tens were buried by mud, leaving thousands displaced. The government relocated most of the survivors to Chiriandongo district, where they have been living to date. Several advisories have been issued to those living on the Mount Elgon slopes to relocate, but residents have largely remained unresponsive. It may take time before the exact death toll from this disaster is known. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Prime.
Well, back home, the only suspect in the blast in Mombasa on Sunday has been discharged from the Coast General Hospital and is now in police custody awaiting to appear in court. 23-year-old Athman Salim sustained injuries from the blast. So far, 7 people injured in the blast have also been discharged from hospital and 2 people are still under intensive care. Meanwhile, the government has promised to fast-track the anti-terror bill from Mombasa County. KTN's Esther Kahumbi reports with the details.
Security patrols have since increased in Mombasa following Sunday's blast at a bar in Shomoroni area of Kisauni. Both uniformed and plainclothes police officers, including those from the GSU, are now patrolling both the north and south coast, manning key installations day and night. Businessmen have also been forced to take precaution, deploying police officers to screen visitors at their premises. Security was tight at the ongoing secondary school teachers conference at the Wild Waters in Nyali, Mombasa. And as the government beefed up security, stakeholders in the tourism industry moved to reassure tourists that Kenya is safe.
Tourists are flocking. Americans in particular are coming. So with or without these travel advisories, I think we have a lot more to gain from continuing to do our business and continuing to run our hotel and tourism business rather than think about a small group of scared terrorists who eventually will be dealt a big blow.
If you ever want to go anywhere in the world, this is the place to be. And you want to tell the rest of our country, the rest of the citizens, the common Mwananchi down there, it is our time now to haggle together, stay together and put our house in order. And then all things will be fine, will be safer, and more people will come, more investors will come.
The two were speaking after a situation assessment meeting bringing together tourism stakeholders and the business community in Mombasa. Both agreed to set up a communications center to disseminate security status information to investors and tourists alike. In the meantime, the government is fast-tracking the Prevention of Terrorism Bill, currently awaiting cabinet approval. The only suspect in Sunday's blast has been released from the Coast General Hospital and is in custody, expected to be arraigned in court by Friday. Meanwhile, 7 victims admitted at the Coast General Hospital after the blast have been discharged. 2 of them are, however, still at the ICU. Esther Kahumbi, KTN Prime.
Well, reports reaching us indicate that the American government has declined a request by the Kenyan government to withdraw an advisory to its citizens not to travel to Mombasa. Michael.
Thank you. The Commission on the Implementation of the Constitution has suspended 5 high-ranking officers over alleged embezzlement of funds. According to the CIC officials, the Commission's suspicions were raised after close scrutiny of an internal document that pointed to some irregularities. The CIC has directed that the heads of finance, human resources, and 3 accountants be investigated over claims of fraud. The 5 officials will remain suspended during the course of the investigations to determine whether there was any misappropriation of funds. And to another commission, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission has launched investigations into 3 vernacular songs thought to be promoting tribal antagonism in the country.
Well, NCIC officials engaged the services of professional translators to determine if indeed the content of the Kikuyu songs are inflammatory. The commission says it has received complaints from members of the public on the 3 songs by 3 prominent musicians. KTN's Angel Katusia with the details.
Kenyans because of the suspected insightful lyrical content. Listeners have reported to the National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCIC) that the songs contain hate, divisive and inflammatory messages. The commission now says it has launched investigations to determine if the content of the songs is indeed provocative.
What we have done first as a commission is to get an official translation of these songs from a certified translator.
Should the NCIC find that the songs contain content deemed to be hate speech, then the artist and the stations that have been playing these songs will be brought to book.
The law is very clear. Section 13, if you break the law, it's 3 years imprisonment or 1 million shillings fine. That's what it says. Or both. It can be both. And as we want to send a message, if it's a radio station playing these messages, it's 1 million shillings fine. So it's very clear.
This is not the first time the Commission is dealing with inflammatory language through different media. A few months ago, NCIC banned a vernacular song from being played, saying it incited tribal tension. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission says it will not spare anyone who spreads hate speech, especially during this sensitive time ahead of the next general election. First, it was the politicians, now the artist. Who knows who next? For KTN, I'm Angel Katusia.
And a reminder of tonight's big question, focusing on the back and forth between State House and Cyrus Jirongo regarding State House allegedly supporting a presidential candidate. So tonight we ask you whether you believe State House is backing a presidential candidate.
Do SMS us a brief comment with your yes or no answer to 8040 and we'll sample some of your comments at the end of this live newscast. But you're watching KTN Prime and just ahead.
Indeed, Moi wants government to inform Kenyans of its policy on oil exploration. Stay with us.
Escape to a world of freshness. Indulge in fragrance. This is a life full of flavor. Life.
This year, it's time to go big. Enjoy unbelievable discounts on home furniture, furnishings and decor. Get your dream bathroom at rock bottom prices or even transform your office with big bargains. There's only one sale, the big annual sale at the Talent Carpet Center. And now, introducing a another one. Triple distilled Crescent Vodka, now available from the home of quality. Truly Kenyan.
The Kabarak University Half Marathon will be held on 30th June 2012 in Mogotio town. The race begins from 6 a.m. at the Equator and finishes at the Kabarak University grounds. Registration is 300 shillings for the 21-kilometer half marathon, 1,000 shillings for the 5-kilometer corporate race, and 100 shillings for the children's race. You can register at all Transnational Bank branches, Mobile World offices, and CAS offices North Rift. Registration closes on 25th June. There are great cash prizes and heifers to be won. Proceeds from the marathon will help support Ngata Baby Care for abandoned children. Kabarak University, world-class education in biblical perspective.
I will pray for all the people of this land. I will hold them close to me. Hey, yeah, yeah. All I need is a here right here in Africa. Jesus, give me here in Africa. All I need is a here right here in Africa. To give mercies, oh, start me, Africa. I love you, Africa. I love you, Africa. I love you, Africa. I love you, yeah. I love you, Africa. I love you, yeah.
Hand washing with soap is able to reduce diarrhea incidences by almost 50% and upper respiratory infections by 25%. When should we wash our hands?
Before eating, before cooking, after visiting the toilet, after changing the baby's nappies.
You can be a Kenyan hand washing champion too. Wash your hands with soap.
During the first critical time, yeah!
This public health message is brought to you by Dettol and the Kenya Medical Association. Clean hands, save lives.
Cities were growing by the day. But as the new buildings grew taller, the roads surrounding them just couldn't keep up. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding us that the right tire changes everything. Stronger, more durable, the Michelin Energy XM2 tire is more resistant to pothole damage. Michelin, a better way forward.
For more information on pothole guarantee, call Kingsway Tire Expert Centers countrywide.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Chibi. I'm in high school. When I grow up, I want to be a banker because I like to play with numbers when I was young. I want to use big because I want to write in the future.
Think big, write big.
Herbal Betasil medicated lozenges. Fast, effective, and soothing action for sore throats.
A sore throat can be so uncomfortable and just makes you miserable, making swallowing painful, talking a bother, and even singing stressful. When you have a sore throat, take it easy. Ensure you take plenty of fluids and remember, always, when symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Now introducing 2 new Betasil flavors, Betasil Menthol and Betasil Peppermint.
Welcome back to KTN Farm. We're glad you're still watching.
Former President Daniel Arap Moi has urged the government to inform Kenyans of its policies regarding exploration of oil, gas and coal, as well as precious minerals. The former president made the remarks as residents of Turkana protested their being kept in the dark on oil exploration at Lokichau at the area where there was oil discovered rather recently. The Turkana residents claimed that the firm that discovered the oil has employed only foreigners at their Ngamia 1 oil rig.
3 months ago, Turkana residents, a people that have over the years struggled with famine, drought and bad weather, welcomed the discovery of oil in the area.
I believe we have found the key to prosperity in this country, and let nobody pour cold water on it.
However, with the discovery of oil deposits in the area, Turkana residents are now dissatisfied by what they term as lack of involvement, claiming they may end up not benefiting.
Nimechangaa sana hii maneno ya mafuta imeingia Kenya yetu kabla hizi hatujajua nini naendelea.
Tunapenda investors. Na kila mara tumejiuliza kwa nini makampuni ya kuji hapa ndio vijana na kina mama waweze kupata ajira.
It is a situation that saw the Turkana community assemble during a leadership forum to agree on terms and conditions that will be all-inclusive. The only plea now is that they may be considered for participation in the process. In the meantime, former President Daniel Arap Moi is calling on the government to make its policies on exploration of oil, gas and coal known to the people. In a statement, the former head of state says, local people should know about and be assured of their rightful benefit. It is only this way that people can appropriately plan for their respective areas. Moi said such information would empower the people and help them plan on utilization of such resources, be it for education, health or other aspects. Safia Wanuna, KTN Prime.
The 37th Annual Teachers Conference commenced today in Mombasa County, and in Kisii, a police inspector is shot during a demonstration. These and more stories in our News in Brief segment.
Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka now says he will work closely with Mvita Member of Parliament Najib Balala ahead of the forthcoming general elections. Kalonzo added that he is ready to work with politicians from all walks of Kenya to help tame tribal and divisive politics. Still in Mombasa County, 6,000 secondary school heads kicked off their 37th annual conference, where they, among other things, challenged presidential aspirants to prioritize education in their manifestos in order to win their support. The teachers also said they fully support the education bill, which is set for parliamentary debate. Meanwhile, in Kajiado, Eldoret North Member of Parliament William Ruto called on the government to beef up security in the country following recent grenade attacks. He said the attacks were affecting the country's economy. He was speaking at a funds drive in Kajiado. Finally, the body of a middle-aged man was found in Eldoret town after he was reported missing for 2 weeks. The man is said to have been suffering from cerebral malaria, which had rendered him mentally unstable. For KTN Prime, I'm Betty Kialo.
And we urge Kenyans to encourage their parliamentarians to pass this bill, because it is important for all Kenyans. Terrorism knows no tribe, it knows no religion, it knows no borders, and we must, as a country, come together to fight terrorism together. And we can do so through institutions, through the necessary legal framework. And this bill is important for the country.
Old Mutual has helped people invest to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. The wisdom to enable you to do great things.
Both dem na chali, cause tuseme dem amepata pregnant kwa mdogo, labda kuna zile goals alikuwa ameset, but yo pregnant imemwaffect.
It's gonna affect both the chick and the guy. For the guy, because of the bill that was passed, he can't run away from his responsibilities. He'll have to take care of the kid, and that's going to be hard for him.
Unplanned pregnancy will affect both of them, because let's say, for example, the chick is maybe in high school or college, so she'll have to drop out to take care of the kids. And also, maybe the boy won't be ready.
At UAP, we enhance lives across Africa. Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP, better, simple life.
That may be good enough for these gems, but gems are getting tougher. You need advanced protection. Lifebuoy Advanced Lifebuoy gives protection against 10 infection-causing germs. 10 infection-causing germs. 1 advanced protection. Lifebuoy.
Welcome to KTN Business Today. Kenya has slipped in the global ranking in the Doing Business survey carried out by the World Bank to position 109 out of the 183 countries surveyed. Additionally, the survey released in Nairobi noted the need to decentralize business incorporation to drive the required economic boost of small business.
The 2012 Doing Business in Kenya report surveyed 13 local governments to determine how welcoming the regulatory environment is to small and medium enterprises across the country. From the findings, Malaba was found to be the easiest place to do business, scoring favorably in 4 parameters, ranging from the ease of starting a business to the ease in enforcing contracts. Rounding up the list was Nairobi as the toughest, preceded by Nakuru and Kakamega. While the survey indicates that local authorities have made significant improvements, they were still moving slowly compared to other countries in the region and globally.
But there are cities in Kenya that are ranking much higher than 109 with respect to some of these measures. And that's very hopeful for Kenya because that means Kenya knows how to do this.
From a global perspective, Kenya, represented by Nairobi, ranks at 109 out of 183, ahead of Egypt and Ethiopia, but behind the likes of the rapidly growing Rwanda and South Africa. A critical finding of this report is that Nairobi remains the only city where entrepreneurs can incorporate their businesses, making it inefficient and costly to operate. This has renewed calls for the government to devolve some of its centralized services as well as improve regulatory reforms.
Because we are going through a very fundamental transformation with the new constitution, which has now devolved power.
World Bank officials say simpler and more efficient regulations will enable farms to grow larger, create more jobs, and support faster economic growth in the country. Michael Karanja, KTN Business Today.
Dairy processors are already feeling the strain of reduced milk prices at the shelves while paying high rates to farmers at collection points. This could see prices paid to farmers drop in the coming weeks, as Philip KTN reports.
According to Brookside Dairies, the move could be necessitated by the mismatch between prices of raw milk and that of processed milk at the shelves. This, the company says, has resulted into a negative effect in the milk supply chain. Milk prices at most supermarkets in Nairobi as per the 15th of June was retailing as low as 35 shillings for a half-litre packet. The farm in a statement indicated that currently pays 40 shillings per litre for milk deliveries, the highest payment by a milk processor. According to the industry regulator, Kenya Dairy Board, prices are still expected to fall further from huge deliveries in Central and Rift Valley province. The drop in producer prices is likely to hurt farmers who are grappling with high cost of animal feeds that has forced some out from the business. Philip KTN for KTN Business Today.
A case in which a Mombasa-based construction firm and a local university are in court over payment of work done will be heard at the end of July. Presbyterian University had sought an injunction against LSEC and LSEC Limited, which has demanded more than 200 million shillings for the construction of the university in Kikuyu town. Zawadi Modibo has those details.
A quantity surveyor appointed by the Presbyterian University had testified before High Court Judge Justice Eric Ogola that the works by LSEC and LSEC was approximately 74 million shillings. However, LSEC and LSEC construction lawyer Mbidi Gadenji argued that there was a contract and the purchase price had been already agreed upon. In his submission to court, Gadenji argued, and I quote, "Legally, when there is a contract and the purchase price agreed, one party cannot now purport to call a quantity surveyor to again compute and or tabulate costs." Gadenji also argued that the quantity surveyor only acted on the university's instructions and did not consult the developer. In an affidavit, LSEC and LSEC Limited entered into a written agreement on March 30th, 2011 with the university to construct a student center, dining hall, kitchen room, meeting room, gym center and bookshop center. Construction began in April 2011, but trouble began when new management took over the running of the university in August last year. The company noted that the site had materials and equipment worth over 150 million shillings, which are unsecured and uninsured and are likely to be wasted, stolen or damaged. No security personnel from the plaintiff or applicant are allowed into the site, the company had submitted. LSEC and LSEC Company also wanted a temporary injunction to be issued against the university, restraining it from engaging any other contractor or person for the construction of the development. It also wanted the court to restrain the university from handing over to any person the site or works and buildings or developments pending the hearing and determination of the application. Reporting for KTN Business Today, I'm Zawadi Mudibo.
And to end this edition of KTN Business Today, a look at how the shilling fared against other major currencies and activity at the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. Wisdom to enable you to do great things.
Welcome to KTN Sports Today. Olympic-bound Team Kenya's expected residential training at Kasarani may not get to full house status anytime soon, with an exception of the 6 marathoners who are camping at Kerio View in Iten, and a few who will take part in the Diamond League. The rest are to train at the Kasarani camp, but a visit to the Chepkoileo University grounds shows a different picture. Those who were to be in Kasarani are instead training in Eldoret.
Despite an earlier directive by the National Olympics Committee that all Kenya's Olympic-bound athletes will train as a team at the Moi Sports Center Kasarani, NOC might be forced to loosen its stance or tighten the rule altogether. Tuesday morning, athletes who have qualified for the Olympics in London were busy sharpening their skills at the Chepkoileo University grounds, a dusty track as compared to the world-class tartan track in Kasarani. Among them were double world champion Vivian Cheruiyot and her 5,000 meters and 10,000 meters colleagues, 800 meters women's Olympic silver medalist Janet Jepkosgei, and 3,000 meters steeplechase Beijing Olympic gold medalist Brimin Kipruto, all of whom were expected to be in Kasarani.
I think it is because we don't have another track and field, a track which is tartan within Eldoret, so that is why we normally train here and everybody is training here. So I think it is the best because since we have been training here because we don't have any other track.
Hapa Chepkoileo najua niko uwanja ya nyumbani. Nimetrain hapo kwa miaka 8 sasa na nimefanya mzuri kwa mazoezi yangu ya Chepkoileo.
A uniform training schedule was introduced at the camp as it has been in previous years. But the athletes feel individual training will make them produce better results than having many trainers, which might end up confusing their patterns.
I'm not used to training using the tarmac, so the tartan. So I think this is the track, which is good, but it's good at least to mix. When it rains, you can train with using the tartan. But the main important thing is to train actually with this normal track for us because we are used to.
Team Kenya is said to be presented to President Mwai Kibaki at State House, Nairobi, Wednesday morning, during which the head of state will hand over the national flag to the Olympic and Paralympics team. Victor Ogale, KTN Eldoret, from the county of Uasin Gishu.
In football, the leadership of the Kenyan Premier League could change tomorrow night after the match between 2009 winners Sofapaka and AFC Leopards. The fight for the Cats takes the centre stage as AFC Leopards, who lie third on the log, take on league pace setters Sofapaka at the Nyayo Stadium. Now, this will be Sofapaka's first match of the second leg, while AFC Leopards have already played their game in hand against Sony Sugar, having tasted the league when they played their postponed final first leg fixture. Brewers Tusker lead the log together with Sofapaka, who have a game in hand. Both sides have signed new players, and it will